Okay, so let me start off this video by saying that I am still pregnant for now. I'm still pregnant. I am today 11 weeks and 3 days pregnant. So this is really good news. So we're still moving forward. However, as you'll see from the title of this video, things have changed since our 7-week scan. So the last video we uploaded at 7 weeks confirmed that it was a twin pregnancy. I think we were kind of amazed, shocked and not shocked, because I've been so sick, and as you'll see from the sick bands, still am feeling sick. Had a really tough first trimester, early pregnancy, whatever you want to call it. Had to be in bed most days. The nausea has been unbearable. So I think when they said twins, although we were amazed because we couldn't believe it, it kind of tied in with the fact that I'd felt so ill. So we were very excited, overwhelmed, told family, obviously close family, didn't broadcast it to the world or anything like that. But yeah, just excited. So time ticked on for a short while. We got to 8 weeks, so a week went past, and that following weekend, I started to get some brown discharge. Very light, not a lot of it, but a bit of brown spotting, which obviously unnerved us and started to worry us a bit. So that happened on the Saturday, carried on a bit on the Sunday, and then it all kicked off on the Monday, at which point we were 8 weeks, 3 days pregnant. So on the Monday morning, I woke up and I'd actually been dreaming. I had dreams in the night that I was bleeding, and I'd had a period and I was bleeding. And I woke up and got out of the bed, and I could just sense that something wasn't quite right. Went to the bathroom, obviously wiped, and there was still brown discharge, but it was much more brown discharge. So I called for Muriel, who was downstairs making breakfast, to say the discharge has got heavier. And as she'd come up the stairs and I was actually in the bathroom, we clearly have no boundaries anymore. By the time you get to this stage of IVF and pregnancy, I was trying to basically say, look, here, look at this tissue, look how much the discharge. And as I was trying to say this, fresh blood started pouring down my legs. It sounds a bit more dramatic than it was. When I say pouring down my legs, it wasn't huge amounts that wouldn't stop. It was just fresh blood just came out and started kind of trickling down. And obviously when we've transitioned then from brown discharge to fresh blood, it was like, this is game over. So in the moment, I just looked at her, it's like, I don't know, 7:30 or whatever it was on a Monday morning. We were getting ready for work. I was still feeling awful anyway, and I just looked at her and said, we have to go to hospital. I ran, jumped in the shower, tried to pull myself together, but I was just distraught. I was just crying. I said, I can't believe, we've gone from, in just over a week, having a twin pregnancy confirmed to everything going, like it's done. And I didn't want to be back, obviously, in that dark place that we've been in many times before. I couldn't believe it. So we went to A&E, went to hospital, and it was just honestly really bad. Obviously it's bad. I was in pieces, Mira's in pieces. She wasn't allowed to stay with me because of COVID, so she kind of took me in, and then A&E said, you have to leave. So she was sat outside, literally outside. I could see her out the window the whole time, bless her. My mum, who works in the hospital, was eventually informed, even though I'd said not to panic her. She was, come down in a NHS uniform and was trying to get into A&E to see me. She was in tears, I was in tears, Mira was in tears, complete disaster. I'd also had a lot of cramping. So in my mind, I just felt like I was starting a period and I was trying to flush out the pregnancies. So to cut a long story very short, we were in A&E, I was in A&E for 3.5 hours. They kept calling me in and they said, do a urine sample and we're going to try and get you up for a scan to see what's going on. And then the doctor felt around my stomach and asked what hurt. And it was really difficult to ascertain what hurt because my stomach by this stage was really bruised because of all the injections I'm doing, still doing 2 a day. So it was all very difficult. And in the end, after 3.5 hours of waiting, crying, worrying, one of the doctors or nurses, I'm not sure, I wasn't really fathoming who anybody was, called me outside, so didn't even bring me into a room, called me outside the hospital and said, yeah, so we booked you in for a scan tomorrow. And I just flipped, and Muriel came over at this point because she was outside, and I said, we've been waiting 3.5 hours. why can't we be scanned today? I've had friends who've come in similar situations and they've been scanned the same day. I said, I'm an IVF patient, I'm on so many drugs. The last thing I want to do is go home, carry on injecting in this horrific state, assuming that I miscarried and having to wait. So we put up a bit of a fight, but they just weren't having any of it. We even went to the maternity ward in the end to beg and plead with them. And they said, no, we're fully booked, there's nothing we can do, can't scan you till tomorrow. So from there, we immediately started looking for private scans. We live in Reading, so we were looking everywhere across Reading. Nothing, everywhere we looked was fully booked for like the next couple of days. In the end, Muriel hit jackpot and she found somewhere that was about a 40-mile drive from where we lived, so it was further out. And they were fully booked, but it said on their website, please call this number for emergency same-day appointments. So I called the number, explained the situation, and they said, yep, we'll see you, no problem. Come in, I think it was 5:30, so later in the day, but they said they'd see us, and they were brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I'll put their details in the description of this video, actually, because to find a place that actually understood why we really needed a scan that day, and they were so good with us there. The nurse was fantastic, very polite, very supportive and caring, really took the time, and thank God we found this place, because there was no way we were going to get through a night assuming that the pregnancies were over. So when we got to this place, she did, and it was my first time having a scan on the tummy. There's always been these horrible vaginal probe scans before, so she did the scan on the tummy. And very quickly we saw a baby with a heartbeat on the screen, and we just couldn't believe it, because I just thought we were out the game, you know, we were done. As soon as we saw that, we were just, huge sighs of relief. I think I knew what we both knew, that the other one probably was gone before she even said anything, before she even showed us anything. But the fact that we had our one baby there, it was just, it felt like we'd been pulled out of a very, very dark tunnel. And it was crazy seeing this baby, because we'd only seen them like a week and a half prior at the 7-week scan, and to see the baby at 8-week 3-day scan, it looked so much more like a little baby. Before it was just this kind of blob, and suddenly it was this thing. It was really funny. It looked like it was kind of floating through space with tiny little arms and tiny little legs. It was just, very surreal. I will show you, actually. I keep all our IVF stuff in this folder. There's a lot of stuff in this folder. We got a lot of pictures from the scan place. So there he is. I say he, haha, floating through space. And it just looked a lot more like a tiny, I say person, you know what I mean. It looked a lot more like it was getting to a fetus, and we just couldn't believe it. We lost twin 2, which is, from my research, my understanding, quite common in twin pregnancies in the first trimester. Most women, obviously people who aren't IVF patients, never know. They rock up to their 12-week scan and are told there's a single pregnancy and never knew there was another one there. We obviously did know, and we lost this one it was 7 weeks, 6 days. So it was a day off 8 weeks, basically. And you can see from that, this is the twin that we lost. Just obviously not quite as developed as the other one. And it was really sad, because you kind of, much as you try to resist, we were in the mindset of we're having twins, and the dream was kind of over before it began. But the relief overtook grief, and we haven't really taken much time to mourn twin 2. I continue to feel bad about that. I think we're just trying to focus all our energies on our remaining baby, and I'm incredibly thankful that we still have that remaining baby. I had said throughout the process, way from the beginning of our IVF journey, we will never have twins. I've said this to Muriel so many times. I said, we won't have twins. I don't sense it, I don't see it. It's not there in our future. It's not going to happen. I think when they confirmed twins at the 7-week scan, deep down, you know, so deep down, you're probably not even conscious of it. I think I had a feeling that we would lose one, just because I never saw us with twins. Much as it was wonderful when we were told that, and much as if I could have twin 2 back, of course I would have twin 2 back in a heartbeat. but I just, deep down, I didn't feel it was going to happen. So we had another scan at 10 weeks, so a week and a half ago, and baby is still doing well. And it was really, really weird, actually. Here's my other scan picture, because it looks much more like a baby now. I mean, it's not the clearest of photos, but it's sitting down kind of in the sack is the word, and it was nuts. It was moving about, it was kicking, it was just very, very, surreal. And yeah, there was no way we could wait until 12 weeks. We had to have that other scan at 10 weeks to see what was going on. Now we are waiting for our 12-week scan on the NHS, which is booked in. I'll actually be 12 weeks and 4 days if we get to it, which is a week tomorrow. So our pregnancy journey so far has been really hard. I think I always thought if we were pregnant and if we got to, the end of the first trimester and things were progressing better than our previous pregnancies, I'd just be so overcome with happiness that everything would be fine. But it hasn't really worked out like that. Obviously, losing the twin was very upsetting. It reminded us how quickly things can end in this journey. It really unnerved us. It really psychologically hit us. On top of that, like I said, I've been feeling very, very sick since week 5. Basically, as soon as I hit week 5, I started to feel sick. Have thrown up a few times, but it's mainly just persistent nausea. I can't eat the things I want to eat. I have this horrible metallic taste in my mouth on and off. I am exhausted, dizzy, everything. It's taken a lot of energy just to make myself look presentable to record this. I wish in a way there was some footage of how the last few weeks have been, because it's mainly consisted of me lying in bed or lying on the sofa, looking awful, feeling awful. It's like having a virus, or when you feel dizzy and low energy and sick and disgusting. It's been like that for over 6 weeks now, and I'm really tired of it. So that's where we're at the moment. I'm going to be stopping my medication at the end of this week when we hit the 12-week mark, and I'll save all the info for another video because I'm going to do a video on stopping progesterone. But you know what it's like when you take all these injections and you're doing it week after week after week after week after week. So those are just the injections, just from this cycle. Obviously not all our cycles, there's many more than that. There's the 2 pessaries every day as well. There's the 2 estrogen patches. There's lots of vitamins of a higher, or folic acid and whatnot, of a much higher microgram than the normal because of my gene mutation. So I'm just up to here with drugs. And I think this progesterone now is starting to finish me off. And I will be interested to see when I stop it whether my symptoms do ease a bit, because I think that the medication is certainly knocking me for 6 now. So that's where we're at in our pregnancy journey so far. Just wanted to kind of update on what has happened. It's known as vanishing twin syndrome, by the way, what's happened to us. And apparently it happens in around 30 to 40% of twin pregnancies in the first trimester. But as I said, most women, most couples don't know about it, because unless you're an IVF patient, you don't have those earlier scans unless you want to pay for it, which most people don't really think to do, I guess. So twin 2 should be reabsorbed apparently into my body and into the remaining twins. So yeah, apparently there's a bit of a joke, not that much humour can be had from this, a joke that one twin eats the other in this scenario. But yes, so whatever helps our remaining baby basically is all we have to focus on for now. I do have a bit of a bump starting to form. I'll try and show you. You can't really see it in this tunic thing. There. Don't know if you can really see that. Obviously it's not meant to be a big bump, but there is a bump there. So we'll keep you updated. Next milestones, stopping the drugs, 12-week scan. Fingers crossed.